Financial instability. I think it's something that a lot of young people, especially me, and who are like me, is something that we all struggle with. Now, of course, I bet you're probably thinking, what kind of video are you making now? Well, mainly because I wanted to talk about this. And not only is this channel, like I've mentioned in the past, is a diary and also a news channel and all kinds of things. It's my own little personal, I give the internet a little peek, a little look into my life personally. And I like to discuss and talk about things that I'm passionate about. Now, of course, I'm passionate about video games and comic books and all that nerdy stuff and news and drama. But I also like to give advice when I think it's warranted. I like to give people the best advice possible that I can give you, basically. And I think one of the hardest challenges that most young people face nowadays is financial instability. It is a very well-known fact in America that inflation keeps getting higher, things keep getting more expensive, and the cost of living is super high. And when you're young, you have all these ambitions. You want to be an entrepreneur. You want to have this stability in your life. You want to have all four legs of income that are just making you money. You want to be rich. Everybody wants to be rich, right? Well, I think in order to go about that, you have to have the right mindset for it. That's why the title of this video is what it is, because I'm also a young lad myself. I'm not perfect. I am very young. I'm not going on. I am 21. I'm going on 22. I'm a very young guy. And I have a lot of ambitions and a lot of things I want to do in life. And so this video is more like a time capsule for in the future if my ambitions, flourish into something great, or if they fall into a fiery pit. I don't know. But I'm just going to offer my advice for what I do to people who are like me, or maybe are a little bit aimless in life and don't know quite what you want to do. And I see a lot of people nowadays who say, well, if you're 21 years old, what are you doing living at your mother's house? Or, why are you living with your parents' house? And you have all these people around you, especially people on the internet, who have all these high, unrealistic expectations. And we're taught in America, we're taught as children, we're taught a lie that if you work hard and you're honest and you do good things and you work as hard as you give it all you got, then the world will reward you. No. Unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. If you think that quote is cringe, it kind of is, but it's also very, very true. Working smarter, not harder, is something that my father taught me, and he's a great dude. He's not the best financial advisor ever, but he is a smart man, and he provides for my family. He has provided for me all my life, and I give back to him, and he's helped me do different things. Like, I'll give you a perfect example of how my teenage days were. When I was 16 years old, I was getting my license, and I had no care at all to get my license at that point. All I wanted to do was just play video games and whatever, jerk off, whatever, and just wanted to fuck off. I didn't really care. I didn't really feel like being an adult. I didn't want to grow up. But when I turned 16, and I was offered my parents this car that they had in the yard at the time, and my dad made an offer with me. He said, well, son, do you wanna get your license, right? And I said, yeah, sure. So I went and got my license, and we did the whole thing. We did the whole shebang. And when I got back, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then my dad was looking at me. My dad has a very strange way of doing parenting, and maybe it's common, I don't know. But the way that my dad taught me was that he always said, he made a deal with me. That's what he did. That's how my dad got me to do different things. He'd make deals with me. He said, look here, son. He said, if you want that car out there, right? And I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course I want a new car. It was damn near brand new, Well, not really damn near brand new, but it was a nice car. It was a pretty mid-tier car. It was a 2013 Nissan Altima. At the time it was 2021. So it was a fairly still new car, you know what I mean? It had low miles, everything. It was a great car. And my dad was like, you want that car there, right? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he was like, well, I'm gonna make a deal with you. I said, oh shit, here we go. Right? And he was like, I said, my deal is that if you want that car out there, I'm not gonna make you make the car payment or even the insurance. But if you want that car out there, you're gonna have to get a job. And right then I was like, fuck. I was like, God. I was like, but I knew that if I got that car, then that means I would finally unlock my freedom. Because my parents were very lenient with me. They were very lenient with me. They let me have my freedom. They were never on my ass as much. And I got the car eventually. And I got a job and all that thing. So my dad did this idea where he would make deals with me, where he would say, hey, if you want this thing, you got to work hard for it. And you're not just going to be given things all your life. And I know a lot of people definitely have that mindset of, well, people get given things and that's unfair, and you got to realize that sometimes that's just the way the world works. Unfortunately, people are given things and you're not given things, and that just means that you have to work doubly, triply, quadruply harder than those people, and that's unfortunately the way the world works. It's not nothing that you can change, but if you ever feel down about yourself, if your confidence is low, always remember that there's always people who are doing worse than you. 99% of the time, there's gonna be somebody who's worse than you and somebody who's better than you. Always, 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 always. Don't ever think that, because don't idle other people. Don't get jealous of other people. Focus on you and work towards your personal financial goals on whatever they may be. I'll give you a perfect example of what I do nowadays. I work a regular 9 to 5 job like usual. I bring home my money and I pay my bills, car payment and insurance and all these things. I do my payments, and yeah, I do live with my parents. I still live at my parents' house, but I help around the house. I do chores and I help pay bills and these. So I'm practicing these adult-like things while avoiding high rents or even high mortgages as well. So I get to save money. Now, what do I do with that money? Well, I reinvest that money. So this is where the topic of the video is really going to stir up. I reinvest that money. If you want my advice on the best way to make your money do something without you having to lift a finger, is invest it. Invest it in the stocks. Now, of course, when you get into the stock market, people immediately see all the charts and numbers and shit and graphs, and they get overwhelmed. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do. It's really not that hard. It's really not that hard. If you invest into something like a ETF, like the expanded ones, and you just you sound off maybe $100, $200, $300, and you put that in an index fund like a ETF, where it's like, for example, you can either choose to invest into one singular company like Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, the big techs, or you can invest into the SP 500, and you can invest into the top 500 companies in America. So even if even though the company that you're trying to invest into may not perform well, the overall stock market always performs well. It always rubber bands. It always goes up. And recently it's been going up pretty far. So if you want some financial stability, or if you want your money to be doing something more than just sitting in a savings account or whatever, then my best advice, honestly, is to try to invest that money. But don't do crypto. Don't do gambling. Don't try to become a millionaire overnight, because you have to either get really, really lucky with that shit, or that's about it. Honestly, you just have to get really, really lucky. It's almost damn near impossible to predict the market. And I'm new to the whole investing thing, but for about half a year now, I've been investing into my personal portfolio, and I've made a pretty decent chunk of change. It gives my money purpose beyond just sitting there. If there's one thing that I've learned about trying to build financial stability and gain wealth, like gain actual generational wealth, the only way that that's possible 99% of the time is that you have to be having your money be moving. You can't just have money be stagnant. You got to help money move. Now, of course, so I got my money moving. I got my 9 to 5 that provides that money, but I also practice what I'm doing right now, my YouTube channel. This is my entrepreneurship, because I have a dream to be an entrepreneur. I think most people have a dream to be an entrepreneur, but I think where most people screw up, unfortunately, is that they choose to focus on one or the other. They either work a 9 to 5 their entire life, accept the way that things are, and that's just the way it is, and they get into this mentality where they do the same thing every day, and they don't try to attempt to do self-improvement. They don't try to move on in life. And they work the same job for 25, 30 years, and they're satisfied where they're at. And you know what? Power to you. But if there's one person on this planet that I cannot stand, it's a person who has ambitions. It's a person who has these ideas. It's a person who wants to do all these things, but refuses to actually commit to executing it. That is so frustrating to me. And I know you're watching this video, you probably know a couple of people in your personal life who do that, and it's very aggravating to most people, because it's like you want to do all these things, but you're choosing not to, and it frustrates me as a person more, I think, because I spent a lot of time having that mentality. Like I said, I'm not perfect, man, and for a long time, especially when I was working at McDonald's, which was my first job ever. I worked there for 3 years, 3.5 years, almost 4 years. And I tell you what, I wanted to be a YouTuber so badly when I was a teenager. I did. I wanted to be a YouTuber so badly, and I still regret not chasing it a bit earlier, because I feel like if I was more consistent with YouTube, I wouldn't be in the position where I'm at now. I might even be doing better than now. But I still give myself a pat on the back. I still have confidence in myself, because I have been pulling pretty high numbers on this channel recently. I've pulled the highest numbers I've ever done before in the past. So clearly what I've been doing has been working, and that's a good thing. But I think my best advice for a person who's in their 20s, who is financially struggling, and it feels like there's nothing left, like they're in the road, there's nothing else left to do, they feel aimless, they feel lost, they're losing confidence. Don't, man. Don't. It's not worth it, man. There's plenty of other people out there who are struggling just like you, and you're not the only person, man. It's the ones that thrive off of the struggle and actually gain the skills to improve their lives, to benefit themselves. Those are the ones that really make it. You can't just give up. And also, never accept the world for what it is. Dare to see it for what it could be. And that, yeah, I know I just quoted Overwatch. I'm sorry. But it's true. It is very much true. You cannot accept things the way they are. You have to be able to improve things. You can always improve something. You can always get better. You can always improve yourself, even if it's in small increments, even if it's just a day-to-day basis. Just slowly improving yourself, your lifestyle, your personality, gaining new friends, doing new things. And all that stuff sounds corny. Sure, yeah, it sounds very corny, okay? It sounds very Disney Channel. I'm very aware, okay? We all know the internet, but it is true. It's a very, very harsh reality about the world. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It matters how smart you work and how you take care of yourself. That is the most important advice I think I can give somebody. And like I said, look at me. I'm not perfect. I'm 21 years old. I got somewhat of a career, you know what I mean? I went to college. I don't use it for anything. I went to film school. I have a degree in film and television, and I'm sitting here yapping to a couple hundred people on the internet. So, that's just the way it is. But you have to roll with the punches, and you have to keep going. I do want to do more videos like this in the future. I love sitting down and just talking about shit that I feel like, just life things, man, because life is a bitch, man. Life is tough, and I want you guys to watch my videos and just know that you're not the only ones out there who may be struggling, or if you are struggling, I'm here to entertain you. If you enjoy my personality, my work, I really appreciate it, because this is what I want to do for a living. At the end of the day, it is. This is what I want to do. And I choose to do it as often as I can whenever I'm not distracted with my life outside of YouTube, obviously. I am a bit lazy. I need to upload more often. I'm very aware. But I do try. I do try my best, but I always know I can try better. Do or do not, there is no try. And that is the simple way of life. And if you go about life with that mentality, you will succeed. Trust me, you will succeed. No matter how hard it gets, you will succeed. If you build up a savings account, if you have that back pedal, if you have that emergency funds, if you have these money, if you have a pillow that you can softly land on, if you have a goal and idea what you want to do with your money, if you have ambitions and entrepreneurial goals, or even if you're satisfied with your 9-to-5, have goals and set them for long and short term, so that you can always feel like you're getting somewhere. Don't just be spinning tires and feel like you're not going anywhere. Don't ever do that, man. Don't ever do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I felt aimless for a little while, especially like a year ago almost. Like before I started doing YouTube again in particular, that's when I felt very aimless. I felt very, very confused in what I wanted to do with my life, because a part of me wanted to chase the way that I was going, which was film and television. But I realized that film and television wasn't what I wanted to do in particular. I wanted to do YouTube. I wanted to practice entrepreneurship. I wanted to learn the skills to run my own business. I wanted to be independent. I didn't want to have to rely on somebody else telling me what to do all the time. So I chose to chase YouTube and stick with my regular 9-to-5 instead of going for the whole film and television shit. I mean, I have contacts in the industry. I could totally get a job if I wanted to, but I simply chose not to, even though it would benefit me in the long run or even in the short term, because it wasn't what I want to do. So always remember that. Do what you want to do, but make sure what you're doing isn't affecting other people negatively. And if you're just satisfied the way you are, then this is the way it is, man. Like I said, this video is mainly for the people who have these ambitions. They have goals. They have the drive to want to do something, but they just don't quite have that motivation to go do it. And please go do it. Chase your dreams, chase your ambitions. And if you work hard enough, then eventually you will get it. but make sure you do it smartly. But anyways, that's about all I have for today. I just wanted to yap for a little bit about life and stuff. I've been thinking about it very much recently. That's why this video might seem a little out of place. It might seem a little wacky, a little bit out of the algorithm. So it might do good, it might not. I don't know. But if you're here and you're a new subscriber, welcome. This is my channel. It's a fuck show. I know. I try very hard, and yeah. So always remember that. If you're 20, if you're in your 20s, man, even if you're 30s, 40s, it don't matter, man. You're never out of time. Always remember that. You're never out of time. As long as you commit to something, you can do it. So, yeah, that's about it, though. So, see ya.